flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. We have a quorum. I note that we are being live streamed, being broadcast out to our YouTube channel for public consumption, and we're also being recorded internally for our purposes, compiling the minutes. To that end, if anyone has any business before the board, we ask that they approach the bench and speak into that microphone there, so as we can pick it up and again record that and enter it into the minutes. All right, row officer reports and comments. Looking out into the audience today, I'm not seeing any row officers or representatives thereof with us. Public comments. Anybody the public wishing to make comment? I'm shocked. Fiscal and contractual. We have a number of repository properties we're going to get through here. Based on the way that the agenda is written, we're still getting the, just for context here, I think Dan, you provided an overview of sort of the process that we have to go through last week, but just to reiterate here, our solicitor has been reviewing some of our processes and procedures that we conducted, how we conduct ourselves over the years, and he's come to the determination these repository bids are something that we should be voting on. We should be voting on them publicly. And so to that end, we've made that change. We've implemented that in our agenda. And so moving forward, starting last week, we're voting on those publicly. I think moving forward, Vanessa, if you'd be willing to put those sort of under that repository property section, just to vote on them up front in the event that somebody from the public wants to come in. Because they do, I know they do that in the city. They have different people bidding on those properties come in and say, hey, this is what we're doing with it. And, you know, if someone does come in and do that, I'm going to have to keep them here to sort of go through the procedural hoops that we go. But we'll hit those tonight in the normal sections moving forward. Advertising for bids or proposals. This was from an ad placed in the October 20th and 27th editions of the Newcastle News. This is for infrastructure improvements on the Lawrence County Government Center. We're just noting here that that ad is out, and we are soliciting bids for those infrastructure upgrades. I'll note that those infrastructure upgrades are contingent on funding from the American Rescue Plan, the availability of the commissioners to use that funding. We're not certain exactly what we'll be able to use that for. The Fed's final rule isn't out yet. However, we will be moving forward on this advertising to see what prices are and get us into a good position if we're able to make that purchase. Receipt of bids and proposals, we have none. Warrant registers, we have none, which is interesting. Minutes and correspondence. Next, we have approval of the Tuesday, October 19th, 2021 meeting minutes. I'll give my colleagues a minute to check those over and take a motion to accept and file. I'll note that because I was not at the meeting last week, nor did I actually watch the video of the meeting last week, I'll be abstaining on the minutes unless for some reason we can't come to a yes vote on them.
I think we're not going to be difficult over that. I will move to accept the minutes.
Second. We have a motion to second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Abstentions. Aye. Minutes approved. We have no presentation of written communications. This is great. Staff reports. Do we have any staff reports here? Anything above and beyond what's already on the agenda from Jerry or Amy?
No.
Seeing none. Move on to reports and comments. Dan, you've got the floor. You're on deck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two things, just a reminder to everybody that at 2 o'clock this afternoon, we will be out in Mahoning Township at Quaker Falls Park and for the ribbon cutting ceremony, and looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Yeah.
I'm going to run home at lunchtime and put a pair of blue jeans on. I don't think I'm going to go out there dressed like this, just given the weather conditions. But looking forward. From what I understand, former Commissioner Craig may be there.
Yes, I spoke with him yesterday. So,
that's
yeah, he did say he was planning on coming. So
that's great.
yeah.
It would be nice to see him. Secondly,
I was gonna ask, did Steve indicate whether or not he has an inclination to speak?
I did ask him if he would, since like the three of you had mentioned that, and he said he would, so.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So Loretta, if maybe whenever you're in the order, if you want to turn it over to Steve after,
Absolutely.
that'd be great. Sure.
I plan on about 15 minutes. Everyone's.
He did ask me if I was gonna have a tent, and I was like, he's like, Amy, it's gonna rain. I'm like, well, I don't know, but it's also supposed to be windy too, and I don't really want a tent running off,
This is true,
I said, just bring
right?
your umbrella and bring your
And I thought-
jacket.
yeah, I
Jeffy.
thought of that
He
too.
won't melt.
He won't know. No.
Right.
No,
He's
it's,
tough.
yeah.
He's been on Boy Scout
Oh, I
camping
know.
trips. He's
You know what they say when you get older, though.
Uh-oh.
Hey, I'm getting there too. I'm like it.
Way to back up.
Oh, my.
he's no longer a commissioner. You can say whatever
That's
you
true,
want. Well, I only have the other second thing, little weekly trivia question.
Oh, gosh.
In honor of next week being election day, it's 1 week from today,
I know. Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to focus on two of those gentlemen's pictures over on the wall. The gentleman on the left is, of course, former Commissioner Jack Meehan, the late Jack Meehan, very well respected. The other two, though, I want to focus more on them. The gentleman in the middle is former Commissioner and Attorney Tom Shoemaker, who is still living. And then the gentleman on the far right is former Commissioner and Attorney Charles DeLuca-Kensky, who everybody called Charlie D. Now, Charlie D. and Tom Shoemaker both got elected commissioner in 1971. Mr. DeLuca-Kensky was actually, had been appointed by Judge Henderson to fill an unexpired term. So, but he was running for the first time for a full term in 1971. Those two gentlemen, there are two unique things about them. One particularly pertaining to when they got elected, and one is a little bit more general. That the two of them had in common, and that is also unique to this board's history. So there's potential for two different answers if you want to shout out perhaps one or both of them. I hope I've given you enough background to help you with that. Let me put it this way. What was unique about 1971 when they got elected, and what was unique about the two of them as commissioners?
Was that when it flipped to Democrat?
Yes, that was the year, that was the first year, at least in this century.
Yeah.
I can't speak for the 1800s, but it was the first time in the 1900s that two Democrats got elected to the Board of Commissioners. So they broke a long string of Republican domination. The county was trending Democrat at that point, and they got elected. So that was, yes, you're right about that. Anybody want to take a guess on the second one?
For the record, then you and Ed came back and switched it back to the right party.
Well, there was
Keep looking over here trying to
actually in 79, it went back to Republican, Paul Tanner and Frank Bittrell.
Oh, okay.
In 79, but then in 83, it went back to Democrat. And from 83 to 2007, or 2003, it had been in control of the Democrats for that period of time. And you're right, in 2003, it switched back to a Republican control board. So yes, you're correct. But so Mr. Boyd got the first part of it right. The second part is more about the two of them. It was something that was unique to the two of them. That again, unless I am mistaken, it's very unique to the two of them that I don't think it's been replicated before or since on the Board of Commissioners.
Two attorneys?
Yes! Boy, you're batting 1,000
He
today.
is.
Came back from vacation.
I was gonna say, that week did you some good.
There you go.
And I may have, when I was mentioning their names, I think I did say that each of them were attorneys, but
Oh.
yeah, to the best of my knowledge, it was the only
Okay,
time
right.
in the counties, at least in the 1900s, and into the 2000s, that we had two attorneys sit on the Board of Commissioners. It hasn't happened since,
Mhm.
and as best I can tell, it hasn't. It didn't happen before. So, Mr. Boyd, you win $2.
There you go.
There you are.
This will cover my hot dog on Thursday.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Loretta, you're on deck.
How am I gonna follow that?
Awesome.
It is, it is. Nothing.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll have to, after we adjourn, I'll tell you what last week's question was.
Okay.
We'll do that after.
Who got it?
I don't think anybody got it.
Oh, yes, yeah, Debbie.
Debbie Walker got
Pulaski.
it. It was her second
It was
guess. The
Pulaski.
question was, back in 1958,
I remember the
I'll be brief.
Pulaski.
There were a group of people, and it was in the village of Pulaski. A group of the residents petitioned the courts to create the borough of Pulaski. Only because there was a second group that filed a petition opposing the formation of it as a borough. So Judge Lamoury ruled, and I had it written down, he had a real nice legal term, there was lack of unanimity in the two petitions, and he denied the first petition to incorporate as a borough. So that was the trivia question. What village in Lawrence County in 1958, in what village did some of the people submit a petition to the courts to incorporate? And then was there a second petition opposing the incorporation? And it was the village of Pulaski.
SMPJ got it.
Yeah, that's right. So that was last week's question.
Yes.
You know, it's absolutely fascinating how many, you look at Lawrence County, we've got 27 municipalities. Butler County, which is double our size population-wise and double our size landmass-wise, I think has 25 municipalities, roughly there. And you got a Beaver County, which is smaller than Butler County, but larger than us, and a little bit larger landmass-wise, but it's not massive. They've got like 50 municipalities. I mean,
Got a bunch.
I think Pennsylvania has, we're in the, if not the top, we're in the top 3 states with the most. I want to say we're beat by Minnesota, I think has us, and then I think California has us in terms of the number of municipalities. But this is interesting. Anyway, I have nothing. Other than yet come to Quaker Falls.
Yes.
So we'll move on to the new resolution portion of the agenda. First on deck today, we've got Jerry Zona with the resolution for special possible approval to enter into an agreement with Mike Veneziano. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think so.
Okay. For the sale of recycling, solid waste, refuse truck, and 41 dumpsters. Jerry, if you'd be able to approach the bench and tell us what's going on here today. Sort of part 3.
So a couple weeks ago, we advertised for the sale of this particular equipment. Bids came in, and Mike Veneziano was the high bidder for both the truck and the dumpsters.
I like his bid, by the way.
Yeah.
I do as well.
For anybody, for our viewer, it's handwritten. It's 1 page, handwritten, line paper.
And it works for our purposes.
That's it, that's all you need.
It's a legal bid, signed.
Absolutely.
So
I thought it was, forgive me for interrupting, I thought it was interesting too, that this gentleman is from Center County.
Yes, Belfort.
Belfont, which is in Center County, so he's 3 hours away from here, but he made the bid.
he did.
Again, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. So he bid $5,001 for the truck and $301 each for the containers. The other bids, Tri-County Industries bid $3,500 on the truck and $100 per container, and Aiken Refuse bid $2,500 for the truck and $200 per container.
And this money effectively we're going to take back, obviously, where we can, but this is going to get effectively sent back to the state.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This equipment was purchased with grant funding, and the way that works is we'll get to keep 10% because that was our match for the containers, but for the most part, it's going back into the recycling fund.
Mr. Chairman, I have a technical note.
Yes.
On the proposed resolution, line 2, it indicates $5,100, but on his bid, as Jerry said, it's listed as 5,001. Should we make that as a correction?
Jerry, is it 5,100 or 5,001?
5,001.
5,001. Make that correct. Thanks for catching that, Dan.
Thank you.
So we're getting $12,341 for the dumpsters. We're getting $5,001 for the truck. So the county is gonna, or basically came from this, $1,734.20. The remainder will be sent back to the state.
And I think what we may end up doing is, selling 35 or 36 of the containers. I want to hold on to 5 or 6 for just in case we need to swap them out if our containers get damaged.
Sure. Okay. Any questions, comments to Jerry on that process? All right.
But I do have a question on something else.
Sure.
There was an event on Saturday at the plaza where people could bring things. Were you there or
No,
hear
that
anything
was,
about it? I was curious how it went.
that was called Reuse Fest,
Yes.
hosted by Pennsylvania Resources Council. And essentially, this is a program where people can clean out their homes and bring
Yeah.
Reusable, trash
Anything,
down,
right? Yeah.
medical equipment, whatever, and available for reuse. They did partner with us, I want to say in 2017 or 18, and we tried it as part of our hard to recycle event that we do at the fairgrounds and
Right.
Scott Township Volunteer Fire Department. But I think that there was such an emphasis on the electronics and hazardous waste that we could just have a little small amount of medical equipment. That was it.
I was just
Overall,
curious.
well,
I meant to ride by and see. It seemed like a very good project. And it was, several different agencies were involved. Yeah, okay. Just curious if.
They've been going for several years in the
Okay.
Pittsburgh region with some nice success.
Yes, okay, great, thank you. Great.
I just it looked empty. I'm sorry.
All right, we'll make this resolution 2021
279.
Take a motion to approve resolution 2021-279. Read there now, therefore be resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners that Mike Veneziano, I don't have to worry about mispronouncing his name, he lives in Center County.
There we go.
Um,
And he's not watching, I
No
guess.
watch. 145 Thomas Hill Road, Bellefonte, PA is authorized to purchase the refuse truck and 41.6 cubic yard dumpsters as specified in the attached letter. The purchase amount is $5,001 for the refuse truck and $301 per dumpster. If the highest bidder fails to make payment within 30 days, the equipment will be awarded to the next highest bidder, which in this case is Aiken. So that
Aiken for the containers and.
Oh, okay.
do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Jerry, thank you. Appreciate your work.
Thank you. Thanks.
See you, Jerry.
See.
Up next, our planning department will make this resolution 2021-280. Amy, how you doing today?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do we have going on here today?
This is just the county's general resolution stating how we are gonna use the county's portion of our 2021 CDBG. The total contract is, you can see, $638,431.
That's for the three though, right?
$431, and of that, 272,376 is the county's. The remaining is made up from our OBOs, which is Union, Shenango, and Ellen City Borough. So the county will be putting 18% towards program administration, and that's our staff doing the work, and some of the funds that LCAP needs to carry out the project, and for the housing rehab, and the rest is all housing rehab, which LCAP will administer for $223,349. Shenango Township's gonna be doing continuing with the YDC building, and the inside this time. And then obviously program admin for our staff to be doing that. Ellen City Borough is doing street improvement, program admin, and Union Township is doing housing rehab and program admin. Each of those municipalities have their own separate resolution stating how they're spending their funds too, so.
Any questions, comments for Amy?
I have one that I'd like to ask after we vote on this, because it's not directly related to this, but if you'll indulge me.
Sure.
Thank you.
In that case, I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-280, which reads, now therefore resolved by Lawrence County Board of Commissioners, that one, the county shall prepare and submit a grant, the projected amount of $638,431 to the Department of Community and Economic Development. The county has chosen to allocate the $272,376 to the following eligible project. A, housing rehabilitation, $223,349 in non-entitlement communities. Non-entitlement communities being City of Newcastle, Union Township, Shenango Township, and Elwood City Borough. City of Newcastle receives its own funding. And program administration, $49,027, which it covers our staffing costs as well as I assume some of the operational costs associated with LCAP's administration of housing rehab programs. 3, the County of Lawrence on behalf of Shenango Township has chosen to engage in removal of architectural barriers and program administration. 4, County of Lawrence on behalf of Union Township has chosen to engage in housing rehabilitation and program administration. 5, County of Lawrence on behalf of Elwood City Borough has chosen to engage in street improvements and program administration. 6, the said program activities will be administered in accordance with all state and federal regulations. And 7, Chairman Commissioner shall have the authority to execute all documents required by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania pertaining to the application and administration of 2021 CDBG program. The other thing I'll note on that is it's 2021 because HUD is HUD slow, and so this is we probably won't even receive this money for.
Probably will not get the contract until 2022 March or April. So,
yeah.
But the application's due Thursday.
Because I know we're still actually working, I think, in 2018 dollars, maybe back in 2017 dollars.
Actually, we do have 17. We're still in March. Actually, we had to do a contract extension, but that was because of an issue with the contractor and union. But yeah, we won't see the contract until.
So we're not even going to draw this summer. We're not even going to draw these dollars down probably until
No, I
2024.
didn't even think, when I gave you the numbers for CDBG, I didn't even include these dollars in the 2022 because we have to do first in, first out. So we have to make sure we spend all of our 17 money going on that route. So
Yeah. Yep. Oh, CDBG is a disaster.
and I'll be coming next week. I'll send Vanessa. We're actually applying to the competitive CDBG CV dollars
Oh, good.
for housing rehab. So I'll be coming back to you guys to talk to you about that.
In 2 weeks. We don't meet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Actually, we really probably should get together at one of these points and talk about, because Union Township, we're not able to deploy these dollars for housing rehab in Union, which is sort of where a lot of our housing rehab discretionary dollars are flowing right now on the current Union Township project.
They're using these. They're
using theirs.
but we cannot use ours
Yeah.
because, but the competitive ones, we can. So the CDBG CV one, we can use those dollars in Union Township, the competitive one.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But that being said, considering the fact that we're backlogged through no fault of your own, it's just a process. 3 years, it might not be the worst idea to say, hey, is there a non-entitlement community out there that we could pump some resources into and really, bring back a specific neighborhood, again, in one of the non-entitlements. So just something to consider, over the next however many months.
And just so, if you're aware, and, I've said this before, but sometimes we kind of forget too, we send something out to every single non-entitlement municipality. So every municipality except for City of Newcastle, Shenango, Elwood, and Union, requesting projects. And it's no fault of their own that they don't ask for the money now, because it's so hard to qualify a project.
Mhm.
And you're not just doing the housing rehab or the street improvement, but streets can this is Elwood City. They tried to do a project for like a gateway, doing streetscaping. They said no. They said it wasn't eligible. It was in an LMI designated area. It's just very hard to get projects approved by DCD. All the qualifications.
And the interesting thing too with CDBG specifically is the area in which we'd be able to qualify those projects based on the income requirements set forth in CDBG is, quite frankly, the city of Newcastle. I think that's where our highest concentration of poverty is, which when you're looking at geographical districts and the compaction of poverty, it'd be difficult to qualify a geographical district and I'm going to throw out random township, North Beaver Township, for example, which is unfortunate, but you guys, I know, do the best that you can, given our demographics and our geography. Anyway, that was a long-winded. Anybody have anything before we take a motion? Take a motion.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Resolution 2021-280. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Dan, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amy, you're probably up to speed on this. The Elwood City Ledger reported within the last few days that the borough is looking at a couple of potential street closures in the 3rd Ward. And again, this is all very tentative and potential for possibly a Sheetz near 5th Street and Fountain Avenue. Has anything come into your office? Okay.
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you were, I can't remember if you were there, the Wampum Borough train station, we had a meeting, were you there?
I was not there.
We had representatives, Florida was there from Sheets. And so they were kind of talking, they were kind of scoping the area to see where the best place was, and then somebody did recently mention to me that they had heard a chief might be coming too. But we have not received anything.
No documents have come to your
No, nothing
office.
came yet.
Okay.
It will go to the borough first, and then Linda will send it up our way, but not yet, we haven't heard
Okay.
anything, so.
It was an interesting article. It was just in the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
Be a good addition, I would say.
Yes, it would.
Right.
yeah.
Thank you both.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around for these repository properties because they're redevelopment authority.
Okay. And we can send you the list of, or I'll provide you with an agenda too, so you can cross.
Well, I guess I just have one question in regards to one, because, which I'll wait till you get there, because we have an application in for it from Dawn Services.
Okay. We might put that one on hold then maybe until 2 weeks from now if we're able. But moving forward, resolution 2021-281. Again, this is just sort of the repository properties that we received bids on.
Right.
This is, Michael Data placed a bid of $552 on a property located on Darlington Avenue, with parcel ID number of 07-136400. I'll note the city of Newcastle, has approved the transfer, and this individual owes no back taxes, on county properties, which, Vanessa cleared, went through the list and made sure of that. Any questions, comments?
No.
I think we just move through these expeditiously.
Sure.
I'll take a motion to approve resolution 2021-281, authorizing, the bidder.
So moved.
Second. We have motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-282. Thomas Casey placed a bid of $529 on a property located at West State Street with a parcel ID number 06-094900. I'll also note these are all from the city of Newcastle. And again, the city approved it, and Mr. Casey owes no back county property taxes. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Motion is to accept. Is that
Motion is to
correct?
accept.
Second.
We motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Up next, 2021-283, Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 for a property located at Bell Avenue, parcel ID number 06-028600, and the city has approved this bid. I will take a motion for the county to approve this bid.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-284, Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 for a property located on Robinson Street, parcel ID number 06-039200, and the city has approved it. There are no back county property taxes owed on this property. Do a motion to approve bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-285, Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 for a property located on Robinson Street with parcel ID number 06-038300. I'll note the city has approved this, and there are no back county property taxes owed on the property. I do have a motion to approve this bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-286, Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 for a property located on West State Street with parcel ID number 06-087000. I'll note that the city has approved this property, and there are no back taxes owed by Mr. Casey on any of his properties. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-287, whereas Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 on a property located at West State Street with parcel ID number 06-086900. The city approved, and Mr. Casey owes no back taxes on any properties. Do we have a motion to approve the bid?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution 2021-288, whereas Thomas Casey placed a bid of $500 on a property located at West State Street with parcel ID number of 06-087100, that the city has approved, Mr. Casey has no back tax on any of his property. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion is second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. God bless Mr. Casey.
What is it putting in over there? Square property off State Street.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Up next, we have a bid from Mr. Tory Argero, my apologies. This will be resolution 289. For a bid of $500 on a property located at 930 Morton Street with parcel ID number of 04-018100. The city has approved, and Tory Argero owes no back tax on any property that owned. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion to second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. This one's different insofar as the city has denied this bid. So I will note that any action taken by this board relating to this bid is moot, because all it takes for a property to be denied and transfer out of the repository is for one of the taxing bodies of the municipality, in this case the city, the school district, or the county. If one of those taxing bodies denies, then the bid itself is denied. So any action taken by us doesn't really matter on this one. That being said, the city noted its reason for denying is dilapidated, uninhabitable. They have open code violations on the property. For that note, we still have to put a motion forward,
Right.
put on the table, and vote it either up or down independently as the county warrants.
Sure.
So this is resolution 2021-290, whereas Melissa Conan placed a bid of $600 on a property located at 605 Oak Street with parcel ID number of 03-006900. Again, the city has denied it. There are no county back taxes owed, but as per the city, there are open code violations on the property. Amy, is this?
This one has like a long history. This started last year where Dawn Services came to us as a redevelopment authority. They were trying to help see how they could purchase the building, the mortgage from PNC. Court worked with PNC and got PNC to forgive the mortgage. In the meantime, this lady came and put her bid on it, and that's where the court was like, PNC forgave the mortgage, and now they thought we were gonna get it. So we talked with Marianne, and I gave her the background on everything, and I think that's why the city did end up denying it, because
When you say Marianne,
Marianne Gavril.
thank you.
Yes, yeah, we talked with Marianne, I gave her the history of everything, and left it up to them how they were gonna do it. She had stated to me that they could only deny it if it had code violations or they didn't put up the surety bond that they have to do. So I'm assuming that's why they're denying it. So now, Dawn Services brought us up a letter the next day, letting us know that council had denied it and they put into, to purchase it. So it's actually on our agenda for this Thursday for Dawn Services.
And when you say purchase it, this process is the repository property process whereby anybody off the street can come in and say, hey, I want to purchase property. The redevelopment authority, through its land bank powers, has the ability to pull properties from the repository which have a significant redevelopment interest for the county of Lawrence and then sell that as properties to reputable developers.
Right. We have an application process where we follow, but we still check to make sure there's no code violations, foreclosures or liens, and to make sure, because it's not just developers also, it's any, our side lot program, for example, so.
Well, I don't know, again, that specific program is not a means to get around this process. The only time that process is used, again, is in the event of a side lot, it's using the side lot program, or in the event that a reputable developer or a reputable individual has an actual, true, thought-out plan of action to redevelop a property of note in the county of Lawrence. So it's not a mechanism to get around this process. It's for special occasions whereby there's pretty much a guaranteed use for that property.
And originally, Dawn came to the land bank asking us to take the property, and at the time, not take it, but acquire the property, but John DeCaro, our solicitor at the time, recommended that not because of the taxes that were owed and the mortgage that were owed. And so then that's when we told them, then they started working the process, Dawn Services, and just kind of got lost in the shuffle, so.
Okay. My understanding of the law is if a commissioner or if a member of the taxing body votes no on one of these bids, they also have to state the reason that they're voting no. So with that constraint in mind, I'll take a motion.
I just have a question because you mentioned code violations, so through the redevelopment authority to pulling it from.
Well, that's what Marianne Gavel in the resolution, they stated code violation.
They stated code
Yeah.
violations, but for redevelopment authority through land bank, that does not pertain to any movement of any types of property.
We check for code violations.
Okay, now there are active code violations, so what does that mean for Dawn Services to purchase?
There are code violations on the applicant is usually, that's how we do it. If somebody
Okay,
applies.
code violations on the applicant.
Yes.
Gotcha,
Yes.
all right, thank you, because I wasn't going to question and I thought,
Yeah.
I have to question this because how are you selling it if
Right. No, there's code
To somebody
violations
else.
on the
the
applicant.
applicant?
If the applicant has any liens, the applicant
Gotcha.
get back taxes.
Okay,
It actually kind of works out a lot too. We have people come in and pay their taxes once they know. So
well, sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
thank you for that
Yeah, sorry about
clarification.
that.
Yeah, and the other thing, just from almost a philosophical point of view, if the properties themselves are not being able to sold with, if they have code violations on them, then no property out of the depository.
Yeah, I just, in my mind, I need to
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
that because that's it. Every other property,
Has code violations.
there's so many things going wrong with it.
Right.
So how do we let one slip through and not others? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. But I will take a motion to approve this bid, again, resolution 2021-290. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel,
No.
Commissioner Vogler,
No.
Commissioner Boyd.
No, dilapidated, uninhabitable.
Yeah.
Motion
that's-
fails. Motion fails.
I'm in agreement. And I think I stated last week that using your word philosophically,
Right.
unless there's an extraordinary circumstance, my position would be in concurrence with the local municipality's reason, whether
Yes.
it be the city or any
That's
other.
that, right.
I'm gonna respect the will of the local officials since they know their communities better than we do, or at least I do.
Yes.
But I'm still a no vote.
Thank you. Absolutely. Up next, resolution 2021-291. Tony Argero placed a bid of $500 for a property located at 111 East North Street with parcel ID number of 02-046500. I'll note that the city has rejected this bid for the reason that the bid was withdrawn. That being said, the individual has no county back taxes. Do we have a motion to approve resolution 2021-291?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Vanessa, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel,
No.
Commissioner Vogler,
No.
Commissioner Boyd.
No, bid withdrawn.
Motion fails.
Thank you. I think that's everything.
Thanks,
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Up next, we just have a couple admin transfers. I'll note there are two budget amendment transfers. That was just an error, sort of left on the agenda from the previous meeting. There's no action to be taken on that one.
You're talking about numbers 14 and 15.
14 and 15. Yeah, Vanessa's over a little red face. It's all, you're fine. You're fine.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
First up, we have transfer of $79,301 in our Act 44 account. This is Banks Covered Bridge is a little bit more expensive than we had originally anticipated. There were some additional structural problems with that bridge that our engineers found and subsequently worked to repair. To that end, those repair costs cost more money than, again, originally we had anticipated. The nice thing about that, though, is we've got Act 44 to cover those
There you
expenses.
go, that's it.
So,
Yes.
this money is not being taken out of that county's property tax receipts. So I'll note that we've got From Act 44, we've got $70,301, and from Act 89, we've got $79,301. Again, for the cost
Right.
of those additional repairs. Also note that Act 44 and Act 89 are two of our transportation accounts, which may only be used for the repair or construction of county bridges.
Yes.
That's a state.
Good morning, how's everybody this morning?
Good morning.
Doing well, sir. That's a state law. So I will, up next we have.
May I make a brief comment on this one?
Sure.
I think you saw the email that I sent out, got a response from Bill
Yes.
Humphrey on the status of the or the rehabilitation of that bridge.
Right.
Mr. Boyd is absolutely right. As they began to dismantle the bridge, they came across things that they weren't anticipating.
Yes.
And accordingly, it's taken them quite a bit longer to do the necessary work. But as he noted, as Mr. Humphrey noted, he's hopeful that if the weather cooperates, that sometime in November, they will be able to reopen the bridge up in Wilmington Township. And I don't know that we've had much time to talk about it, but I'm hopeful that you'd both be willing to have some type of a ribbon cutting ceremony when we do that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Sure. Up next, we have a transfer out of our personnel, travel and training, $150 to materials and supplies, others covering Staples invoice. And again, our expenses out of that office are a little bit up. Our director, deputy director, and some other members of our staff from different offices are going around to different job fairs right now to try to recruit individuals specifically for the jail, for 911 and for CYS. So there's some additional miscellaneous costs associated with that department right now. Up next, we have out of DJ Cartwright's office, which we very rarely hear from DJ Cartwright. Runs a good ship. There's a Pitney Bowes account. So DJ Cartwright's asked him to transfer from his contingency $245.04 to equipment lease to cover that Pitney Bowes account. We updated our contract with Pitney Bowes about halfway through this year, and so there's some additional costs associated with that. Up next, tax claim. Moving $3,500 from advertising to materials and supplies. I'm not seeing the rationale for this. However, at the same time, if for whatever reason we need to move it back, we can always move it back
Right.
unless anybody has an issue.
Here it
All they
says to
say
pay
is just pay invoice,
Pay
but
invoice.
that doesn't give us a lot of
Yeah.
detail.
We can always go back and look at it, yeah. So I'll take a motion to approve administrative transfers A3 unless there are any comments from my colleagues.
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no ordinances on the table for introduction or for final action. Next commissioners meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 9th, 2021 at 10 a.m. I'll note that's not next week, that's the following week. And the reason for that is because we have an election coming up next Tuesday, which require our attention in other areas. But to that note, thank you, Dan, for passing me this. We have an election board meeting on Monday, November 1st at 10 a.m. Basically for the purposes of opening up the election.
Yes.
So if any member of the public wishes to come to that, they are certainly more than welcome to do so. And then this board, effectively the process, not this board, but the election board, which comprises up to 3 of us, at that point, we'll have the ability to reconvene on election day in the event that we encounter any issues or problems relating to the administration of that election. There will be a planning commission meeting on Wednesday, November 10th, 2021 at 12 o'clock noon at the Mahoning Municipal Building in Mahoning Township. I'm going to ask Commissioner Spielvogel, are we planning on having a special prison board meeting right now or no?
Not at this point. Checking schedules going forward.
Just didn't know if that was
Right. Thank you.
at this time, are there any additional public comments? And sir, if you'd be able to state your name and where you're at, we're going to need it for our purposes of compiling the minutes.
You want to stand up?
Yeah, if you'd be willing, if you're able.
Yes, I'm Ron Halak now. I used to be Lawrence County Commissioner, I used to be Lawrence County Historian, never a commissioner. And I suggested to Steve Craig at that time was the planning director, must have been 15 years ago, that present Quaker Falls be made into a county-owned park.
Mhm.
Steve and I went out there, we did everything, Steve completed the paperwork, and I'm presently writing a book on Quaker Falls with the project and everything. I've got some history on it. I gained some history from the Newcastle News article yesterday with
Yes.
Mr. Schenker.
Yes.
I knew there was an explosive plant there, and I knew there were some violent explosions, but I did not know the name of it. Couldn't find any history books. Obviously, Mr. Schenker in his research has some, so I say, a little bit of inside, no, I don't want to use inside information that gives them wrong impression, but inside information,
Knowledge.
inside
There
knowledge,
we go.
thank you. So, I'm adding that to the book, so I'm extremely pleased. I think it's gonna bring in some tourism money. It could bring in some hotels, restaurants. Forget about the steel mills, they're dead, they're not coming back, but I think we might get some economic growth out of it. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank
sir.
you.
We appreciate you coming out today.
Absolutely.
You coming out to the
2
opening today?
o'clock,
Well, I wasn't gonna bring this up. I don't have a ride out there, and I came here too to see if I could get a ride from the commissioners or anybody, otherwise I'll have to walk out there.
Oh, no, I'd help you out, but I'm actually gonna be leaving here after this, and I'm going straight from where I'm going to the park.
Oh, I can do that, because I go over there and get information on it.
I'm saying I can't take you, I'm gonna be off campus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If anybody could, that'd be good. I wasn't gonna bring that up until you mentioned it.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you for your support, thank you for your work, and I'll be interested to see the final work product of that book.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Should I stay around here in case somebody can give me a ride?
Hang around here. I'll see if I can hook you up with somebody for a ride.
Okay, good. Thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. On that note, if there's no additional public comments, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.
Very good.
Joe's gonna turn off the.
It was a small meeting. We're all good to go. Thank you.
Okay.
Good?
Correct? Yes.
I will call this August 31, 2021 meeting of Lawrence County Board of Commissioners to order. Would all please rise for the pledge of allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence. Debbie, do you listen to the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All please remain standing for a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Chris, please call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vogler?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here. We have 4.